That little red number on your Zillow estimate just dropped again, didn't it? It's a quiet horror, that feeling in your gut like the foundation of your entire life just cracked. You do everything right, you sign away 30 years for a two-bedroom box with a cracked driveway, and for what? So you can watch your equity vanish overnight while some Wall Street landlord cashes out? It's a joke. It's a rigged game. Stay with me on this road trip, and I'll show you exactly where the ground is shaking hardest. By the end, you'll know which California zip codes are flashing bright red warnings for the rest of 2025. This is your survival guide to the 10 cities where the housing bubble isn't just leaking, it's about to burst. And forget the usual suspects. The real danger is hiding in plain sight. Our number one city is facing an investor pullout so fast, it's making 2008 look like a minor correction. Hit like if you're tired of being played, and subscribe so you don't get burned. Let's hit the road. Number 10. Bakersfield. You roll into Bakersfield under that hazy Central Valley sun, past the endless rows of almond trees and the rhythmic nodding of oil derricks. This is it, the last bastion of affordable California, the place everyone from Los Angeles fled to during the pandemic to finally buy a home with a backyard. For a couple of years, it felt like a sure bet. But peel back the shiny veneer of new construction and you find a market built on some seriously shaky ground. The escape hatch from coastal insanity is starting to look more and more like a trap. Let's look at the evidence. The August 2025 numbers show the median sale price is holding around $425,000. Now, that still sounds like a dream to someone stuck in a Santa Monica shoebox, but the warning signs aren't in the price, they're in the pace. Homes are just sitting there, taking an average of 38 days to sell, a huge jump from 26 days just last year. But the real gut punch is the inventory. You dig into the local market reports from this summer, and you find the total number of homes for sale is up a staggering 48% year over year. That's not a cooling market, that's a traffic jam of sellers all trying to get out the same door. The problem is that Bakersfield's entire boom was fueled by outside money and temporary remote work policies. Now, the economic reality of Kern County is setting back in. The local economy is chained to agriculture and oil, two industries famous for their brutal volatility. And while the local cheerleaders keep pointing to new warehouses, the county's unemployment rate is hovering near 10%, a number that just doesn't square with a healthy housing market. This feels less like a stable investment and more like a game of musical chairs. When the music stops, meaning when big companies finally drag their remote workers back to the coast, or the oil market takes its next dive, a lot of recent buyers are going to find themselves holding a mortgage that the local economy simply can't support. Suddenly, that affordable $400,000 house feels very, very heavy. Is this just a normal market correction, or is the last affordable city about to become the first to fall? Number 9. Sacramento. You leave the dusty plains of the Central Valley behind and head north, pulling into Sacramento. This place always had a reputation for being, well, stable, boring even. A government town with steady jobs, good schools, and predictable tree-lined streets. During the pandemic, it became the promised land for anyone cashing out of their Bay Area condo. Sacramento thought it had finally arrived. Yeah, well, the hangover is here, and it is brutal. The whole boom was a fever dream. Bay Area tech workers, flush with cash and newfound remote freedom, descended on neighborhoods like East Sacramento and Land Park, bidding prices up to levels that made no sense. Now, the tide is going out. Zillow's data from the third quarter of 2025 shows the median home price has already slid 9% from its peak just 18 months ago. And according to the California Association of Realtors, inventory is piling up. Listings are sitting for over 40 days, double the average from the height of the frenzy. So what happened? The bosses called. Return to office mandates from Silicon Valley giants are forcing those same remote workers to choose a brutal commute or sell the dream house in Sacramento. You can see the result driving around, more for sale signs than you can count. This isn't just a market cooling off, it's an entire demographic of buyers pulling up stakes and leaving. They're dumping their pandemic trophies back onto a market where local wages can no longer keep up. The median household income here is around $75,000. You do the math on how that supports a $600,000 mortgage with today's rates. It doesn't. Sacramento got a taste of Bay Area prices, and it was intoxicating. But the city's economy is still Sacramento's economy. It's a government town, and when the state budget tightens, and it is tightening, that stability starts to look a lot like a liability. Are you seeing signs of a remote work retreat in your own neighborhood? Number 8. Riverside. You push east, leaving the coastal haze behind for the dry, relentless heat of the Inland Empire. Welcome to Riverside. For years, this was the poster child of the Southern California housing boom, a sprawling landscape of terracotta roofs and logistics warehouses where families could get more house for their money and investors saw a gold mine. The problem with a gold rush is what happens when the gold runs out, and here, the silence is getting deafening. This market wasn't built for families, it was built for spreadsheets. At the peak, data from CoreLogic showed that institutional investors, the Wall Street landlords, were buying nearly 1 out of every 3 homes sold in some zip codes. 1 in 3. They saw a captive audience of renters and an endless upward price chart. Now, that entire model is imploding. According to Redfin's latest 2025 numbers, the median home price in Riverside has dipped 8% year over year, but the real story is the inventory. It has swelled by over 60%. Why? Because the geniuses who all bought at the same time are all trying to sell at the same time. Their carrying costs are killing them. Rents have flattened as the market becomes saturated with for rent signs, and those high-interest loans are eating into any potential profit, so they're dumping properties. You drive through these neighborhoods and you see the ghosts of 100 flipped homes sitting empty, their fresh gray paint already starting to fade under the sun. This isn't a correction, it's a liquidation event. The entire financial thesis for the Inland Empire was based on a flawed assumption that demand from Los Angeles and Orange County was infinite. It wasn't. Now, local residents are left to watch as their communities are treated like a bad stock portfolio being sold off for parts. Is this just the free market at work, or did big investors permanently break the housing market for regular people? Number 7. Santa Rosa. You head north on the 101 and the landscape softens. The concrete sprawl gives way to rolling green hills and perfectly manicured vineyards. This is wine country. Santa Rosa, it's beautiful, expensive, and sells an image of a tranquil, sophisticated life. You're supposed to sip Chardonnay on your back patio and feel like you've made it. But there's a ghost that hangs in the air here, a phantom smell of smoke that never quite goes away. It's the memory of entire neighborhoods turning to ash. Buying a home here in 2025 isn't an investment in the good life. It's a high-stakes gamble with Mother Nature and the insurance industry. The sticker price on a home is a work of fiction. Let's say you find a place listed for $900,000. Zillow's latest data shows prices have been flat for the past year, a sign of serious buyer hesitation. Why? Because the real cost is hidden. After the devastating fires of the last decade, major insurers like State Farm and Allstate have essentially fled the state, non-renewing policies across entire zip codes they deem too risky. So, you're forced onto the California Fair Plan, the state's insurer of last resort. And that's when you get the bill. We're talking $15,000, $20,000, even $30,000 a year for a basic fire policy that barely covers the structure. That's a second mortgage payment you never planned for. This isn't a housing market problem, it's an existential crisis. Sellers are being forced to slash prices because potential buyers get an insurance quote and run screaming. A recent report from a local real estate brokerage noted that deals are falling apart during escrow at a rate not seen in years, almost entirely due to the insurance sticker shock. Your beautiful wine country home isn't an asset anymore. It's a financial hostage. If your insurance company dropped you and the only quote you could get was $20,000 a year, would you sell at a loss or just pray? Number 6. Oakland. You cross the Bay Bridge, leaving the glittering towers of San Francisco behind. For a decade, Oakland was the answer, the gritty, authentic, more affordable cousin. It was where you could buy a craftsman bungalow with a yard for half the price of a San Francisco closet. It had culture, it had soul, and for a while, it felt like the smartest move in the Bay Area. Not anymore. Now, it feels like a city holding on by a thread. On paper, the market looks like a screaming deal. Data from the California Association of Realtors shows that as of the third quarter of 2025, median home prices here have tumbled nearly 18% from their peak. Homes are sitting on the market for an average of 45 days, giving buyers all the leverage. You see the price drops on Zillow and think, this is my chance to get into the Bay Area. But what the listing doesn't tell you is the price you pay after you get the keys. The social fabric here is fraying, and that's putting it mildly. You're not just buying a house, you're buying a new level of daily anxiety. Reports from the Oakland Police Department show violent crime rates have continued to climb, and viral videos of brazen smash and grabs aren't just for tourists anymore, they're a part of daily life. Major retailers have packed up and left downtown, citing untenable security costs. You pay one of the highest property tax rates in the state for the privilege of navigating streets where basic public order feels like a distant memory. This is the core of the problem. The value proposition has been shattered. People were willing to pay a premium for Oakland because it offered a vibrant community life. Now, that community is under siege. So prices are falling not because of interest rates, but because of a crisis of confidence. Buyers are asking themselves a very simple question. Why would I pay $800,000 to feel unsafe in my own neighborhood? How much of a discount on a home is enough to make you ignore your own sense of security? Number 5. San Diego. You cruise down the Interstate 5, the Pacific Ocean glittering on your right, and pull into what's supposed to be paradise, San Diego. 72 degrees and sunny, palm trees swaying, the whole postcard cliché. This is America's finest city, the place people dream of retiring to. But in 2025, that dream has become a financial nightmare. The market here didn't just get expensive, it got completely detached from reality, and now it's starting to wobble. The median home price, according to Zillow's third quarter data, is still hovering at an absurd $1 million. But for the first time in years, that number has stopped its relentless upward climb. It's flat. Why? Because the pillars holding up this market are starting to crack. One of the biggest pillars is the United States military. This city is home to one of the largest concentrations of military personnel in the world. Their government-paid housing allowance has fueled the local market for decades, but now, even that isn't enough. We're hearing story after story of military families turning down postings here because the housing allowance, as generous as it is, doesn't even come close to covering the cost of a decent family home. When a Navy captain with a guaranteed paycheck can't afford to live here, who can? This is the ultimate stress test for a market, and it is failing. This isn't a market for people who actually work in San Diego anymore. It's a bank account for outside investors. The foundation is eroding, and if you think this is bad, you have no idea what's coming. We're now entering the top half of our list, where the price drops get steeper and the stories get uglier. If you had $1 million to spend on a house, would you buy it here, or would you buy a mansion somewhere else and just vacation in San Diego? Number 4. Palm Springs. You drive 2 hours east of Los Angeles, deep into the desert, until you reach a city that feels less like a place to live and more like a permanent photo shoot. Palm Springs. Every house is a perfect mid-century modern gem with a turquoise pool and a pink door. For the last 5 years, this was the epicenter of the Airbnb gold rush. Every tech bro and lifestyle influencer with a spare $300,000 bought a property here, slapped on a coat of white paint, and waited for the passive income to roll in. Well, the party's over. The entire business model that propped up this housing market is being systematically dismantled. The city of Palm Springs, tired of its neighborhoods being turned into transient hotels, has cracked down with some of the strictest short-term rental regulations in the country. They've capped permits and imposed new rules that have sent a shockwave of panic through the investor community. And you can see the results in real time. According to Zillow's market data from August 2025, home values here have dropped by nearly 7% in the last year alone. But the real bloodbath is in the inventory. Local MLS reports show the number of active listings has more than doubled from 2 years ago. Why? Because thousands of these identical, perfectly curated Airbnb houses are all hitting the market at the exact same time. The passive income dream has turned into a high-stakes race to sell before the whole floor gives out. You look at the listings, and it's comical. It's the same house over and over again. The same minimalist furniture, the same neon sign in the living room, the same inflatable swan floating sadly in the pool. It's a market built on a trend, and that trend just died. Now all that's left is a sea of overpriced, soulless vacation homes that nobody who actually lives in the desert wants to buy. Is the dream of getting rich off an Airbnb finally dead, or is it just on a long, unpaid vacation? Number 3. San Jose. You're now in the belly of the beast. The heart of Silicon Valley, San Jose. This isn't just a city, it's the global headquarters of money you can't see. A place where nerds and hoodies became paper billionaires overnight and then spent it on 3-bedroom ranch houses, turning them into $3 million assets. For 20 years, the rule was simple. As long as tech boomed, San Jose real estate was the safest bet in the world. Yeah, well, the code is glitching. The entire housing market here is just a shadow of the NASDAQ. It doesn't run on local wages. It runs on stock options and IPO fantasies. Now, that fantasy is colliding with a brutal reality. According to recent reports from the third quarter of 2025, the median home price has fallen 12% from its peak, now sitting at a still ludicrous $1.6 million. But the price drop is a symptom. The disease is in the job market. Tech giants that fueled this boom, your Googles, your Metas, your Apples, have spent the last 18 months in a relentless cycle of layoffs. That wealth effect that real estate agents love to talk about, it works in reverse too. The stock portfolio that was supposed to be your down payment has been decimated. The job security you needed to sign for a 30-year loan is gone. You can feel the fear in the air. The open houses are emptier, the bidding wars have vanished. Data from the local MLS shows homes are sitting for nearly 50 days on average. You're not just buying a house in San Jose, you're making a high-risk, unhedged bet on an industry that is fundamentally restructuring itself. The era of infinite growth and free money is over. The palaces built on that money are now just houses. And they are wildly, terrifyingly overpriced for a world where a tech job is no longer a guaranteed ticket to riches. If you had $1 million in tech stock, would you cash it out to buy a house here now? Or would you run for the hills? Number 2. San Francisco. You drive north, over the hills, and there it is. The Golden Gate Bridge cutting through the fog, the iconic skyline, the rows of painted Victorian ladies. San Francisco, a city that sold the world a dream of innovation, beauty, and counterculture cool. It's a dream that now costs $1.3 million for a fixer-upper, and it comes with a front-row seat to a full-blown societal collapse. Welcome to the most expensive ghost town in America. The story here isn't just about tech layoffs. It's about a city that has become fundamentally unlivable for anyone not protected by a private security detail. The so-called doom loop you've read about isn't some abstract economic theory. You can see it with your own eyes. Downtown office towers are sitting 35% vacant, according to the latest commercial real estate reports from mid-2025. They are hollowed-out monuments to a bygone era, and that plague is spreading to the housing market. Zillow data shows residential prices are already down more than 20% from their absolute peak, but that's just the beginning. The high-income earners who used to work in those glass towers are gone. They fled. U.S. Census data confirms a steady population drain for the last 3 years. Who exactly is left to buy these million-dollar homes? The people who remain are staring down a city with shuttered stores, rampant crime, and a quality of life that is in freefall. This isn't a market correction. It's an evacuation. People are no longer willing to pay the San Francisco premium for a city that can't seem to provide basic services or safety. The magic is gone, and all that's left is the absurd price tag, and it is about to get adjusted violently. What's the breaking point for you? Is it when the price drops 30% or when you can no longer walk to the grocery store safely? Number 1. Los Angeles. This is it. The final stop. The epicenter of the dream and the decay. You're in Los Angeles, a city that has defied economic gravity for a century. But this is where our road trip ends, because this isn't just a market at risk of a correction. This is a market that is being actively, methodically, and deliberately demolished from the inside out. This is the clearest and most terrifying warning in the entire country. It's a perfect storm, a two-front war being waged against homeowners. From the top, you have a self-inflicted wound called Measure ULA, the new mansion tax. It imposes a staggering tax on all property sales over $5 million. It was supposed to fund homeless initiatives. Instead, it has single-handedly frozen the entire luxury market solid. I mean solid. Data from local real estate analysts shows that in the months following its implementation, high-end transaction volume fell off a cliff, dropping by over 80%. 80%! The wealthiest homeowners are now trapped, unable to sell without taking a massive financial haircut. But the real kill shot is coming from below, for everyone else. Just like in Santa Rosa, insurers are fleeing. State Farm, Allstate, gone. They are refusing to write new policies, especially in the sprawling hillside communities from the Pacific Palisades to the Hollywood Hills that are a tinderbox waiting for a spark. Reports from insurance brokers in 2025 confirm that getting coverage in these areas is becoming functionally impossible. And if you can't get insurance, you can't get a mortgage. Do you see what's happening? The top of the market can't sell, and the middle of the market can't get financed. This isn't about prices dropping 5 or 10%. This is about a complete and total liquidity crisis. A house has no value if nobody can buy it. We're about to see what happens when an entire generation of homeowners who are leveraged to the hilt all realize their properties are uninsurable, unmortgageable, and unsellable at the same time. This isn't a forecast, it's an obituary. Is this the end of the California dream, or is this just the bill for that dream finally coming due? So there you have it, the California dream, now available with a 30% discount and a complimentary insurance denial letter. We've driven through investor ghost towns, uninsurable fire traps, and cities where the cost of living is only exceeded by the cost of leaving. It's a reminder that a high price tag doesn't guarantee value. Sometimes it's just a warning sign. Did we miss a city that's even closer to the edge? Drop it in the comments below. Subscribe for more brutal truths the real estate industry doesn't want you to hear.